Hello readers, it's Sasha, and today I'm going to be filming my intro and conclusion for my author alphabet for the letter J again. Honestly, there's no real reason I decided to do J again, even though I just did J for my last author alphabet. Something about when I was picking the books for the first round that I owned, I just had so many books by authors that started with J that I was so interested in. So I knew I had to do another one, like, immediately. So I'm going to just share with you the books, a little bit about what they're about, and then you can hop right into the clips. And I'm sure if you've already seen my June wrap-up, then you already know how I feel about one of these books, but stay tuned to figure out the in-depth thoughts about these books. So book number one, not necessarily in this order, is Here We Are Now by Jasmine Warga. This is a young adult contemporary about a girl who has never known her father but believed him to be this rock star that everybody loved. And one day he shows up at her door, literally out of nowhere, to bring her back to meet his biological father who is dying. And it kind of goes on this journey on family and relationships and drama, and it just sounds really interesting. I've heard a lot of really good things about this from Allie from Read with Allie or Books with Allie. I'm so bad with names, oh my god. I picked this up because of her glowing recommendation, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how I feel about it. Next book,
not necessarily in this order,
is going to be The Testing by Joelle Charbonneau. This is a book that I picked up on a whim at a thrift store, and I feel like it's a vibe. Do you know what I mean? It's a young adult dystopian novel that's suspiciously like Divergent in a lot of ways. However, this one does deal with a testing process. So when you are 16, you are graduating high school or something like that. And then to graduate, sometimes people in different districts get chosen to go through a testing to get to the university. However, this is the first time that somebody from this main girl's district has been chosen for a very long time to go through the testing. And so obviously, because this book is called The Testing, it kind of goes through that process. It kind of goes through what that test entails, all of the physical and mental aspects that go into testing in order to get them into the university. And as the series goes on, it goes more into depth on like after the testing happens and what the university process is like, all that stuff. So I did kind of read this entire series and included it somewhere in this vlog, but yeah, pretty excited about this one. And finally, the last book that I'm planning on reading is Lovely War by Julie Berry. This is a book that I've really wanted to read for a while now. This is a young adult historical fiction, and it is about two love stories that are told from the perspective of Greek gods. So, for example, Aphrodite, the goddess of love, is telling the main parts of the story. However, other gods, like Apollo, the god of music, and Ares, the god of war, also bring in their parts, as these are World War I love stories. If you know anything about my May reading time, you know that I read The Nightingale, and I absolutely fell in love with it. 10 out of 10, like, would consider it my favorite book of all time at the moment. And I'm really looking forward to picking up another historical fiction and seeing if this one, you know, can come close or kind of compare in any way. I'm really looking forward to it. So those are the three books I'm reading. Stay tuned. I'm going to get you guys to go into my next clip, and you'll see how I really felt about these books. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye. I am just about to start reading The Testing by Joelle Charbonneau. I realized that I kind of need to get back on my bullshit with reading, and I figured today I'm off. My new kitten is back in the hospital, so I have a lot of time to read, so I might as well start my reading vlogs for July and get the ball rolling on that. And I'm in the mood for a series, and I don't know, I just wanted to read a series. So I'm going to start reading The Testing by Joelle Charbonneau. I don't really know what it's about. I know it's a dystopia, but I really am hoping to get back on my bullshit because I've read 2 books this month so far, and both of them haven't really blown me away. They've been pretty mediocre in terms of the content in the books, so I'm really hoping that this one will do something for me. So I'm gonna start. I'll update you 50% of the way through like I usually do, and I will see you then. So I just finished Joelle Charbonneau's Testing trilogy. I was planning on updating halfway through, but then I just kind of didn't. So here we are kind of going through the Testing trilogy. So I would say the series averages out around like a 3.5 to 3.75. Like, it was good. It was a good series. It was entertaining. But overall, I definitely feel like it's been done before. Like, it's literally like almost a carbon copy of Divergent. And while I did like it, it didn't like blow me away. I find that Joelle Charbonneau, and at least in this series particularly, writes entirely too descriptive. I had so many pages at once of inner monologue, and I don't like that. I like conversations, I like dialogue, and it just got to the point where I was getting frustrated, and it was a struggle. So I didn't love it in that way. I loved dystopia, so there was always going to be a place in my heart for any sort of dystopian novels, and this was kind of just like a really nice throwback into what I used to read as a teenager, and I overall really did enjoy it, but as a whole, it didn't blow me away. I don't know if I would seek out any more writing by Joelle Charbonneau. I don't know. I might, but I highly doubt it. I might see if she's written anything else that's super interesting. She's not going to be one of my auto-buy authors, let's just put it that way. So that is what it is. I am pretty content with everything. So yeah, I am going to start the next book in this at some point this month. I just don't know fully when it's going to be, but yeah, I guess we're off to a pretty good start with this vlog, but I have higher hopes for the next two because here we are now, and Lovely War I've heard better things about, so I am looking forward to reading those. So that is all, and I will see you in my next clip, and I'll actually try to update you guys 50% of the way through each book now because, I mean, get it together, bitch. Okay, bye. So I am at work right now, and I'm going to be starting, what is it called? Here We Are Now by Jasmine Warga. I am super excited to read this. I've heard really good things from Allie on BookTube about this book, and it's really underhyped and really underrated apparently. And I'm always in the mood for a good like contemporary story, so I'm really excited to start reading this. It is about a girl whose dad is a rock star, and she writes letters to him hoping that she's gonna meet him, and then one day he does come to the door and like he meets her, and he asks her to come to, I think, California with him to meet his grandfather or her grandfather who's dying. And I'm pretty sure she's like, okay, let's do this. So she takes a friend and her, and they go on this trip together, and she realizes that like he's not as perfect as she's made him out to be or something like that. I don't know, it just sounds like right up my alley, so I'm really excited. I'm gonna start reading that probably tonight. It is a Monday, so I don't know how it's gonna be. Mondays are really like up in the air for how busy it's gonna be, but I'm sorry, I'm really annoyed. This person parked in 2 spots. We're not allowed to park at the place next door to us, even though they at best have like 6 cars at their freaking lot, and they have a huge parking lot, but they were like, your workers are parking here and you can't do that. And we have a tiny lot, and in one of the spots, actually in 2 of the spots, is the work van that nobody uses because we don't do house calls anymore. So that's just taking up 2 spots, and they won't tow it. And now this asshole parked in 2 spots. It's like I am parked against a wall because there are no parking spots. I love this job. That's all I'm gonna say. My eyebrows look hideous. I really need to do them tonight.
Wow, they're really bad. Hold on, like they're actually really bad. Okay, it's fine.
I'm gonna start this tonight, and it's gonna be a lot of fun, and then yeah, so I will update you guys when I'm 50% of the way through, and we'll go from there. Bye. Every single update I'm doing is in the car, and I think that's really great. So I'm eating goldfish, the superior snack. So I am halfway through Here We Are Now by Jasmine Warga, and I like it. It's good. It started off not great. Like, it started off and it was kind of, I don't want to say like juvenile, but if it read really young, like it read like they were like 13, 14. They kept being like, I'm pissed with a capital P, and it was just like, nobody does that. Like, you use that phrase more than 0 times, so I have to be upset about it. So that was a little frustrating, but as the story got on and we dove more into like family relationships, it was actually really good. So diving into that familial bond and the connections being made with the other side of her family was really interesting. And as somebody who really does not know my dad's side of the family, like I know they exist and I do know them to a degree, I feel like I related to her a little bit because she was having all these new experiences with these people that she is connected to, but it's hard to feel that connection, yet she still feels it. So that was good. This also does have a lot of pop culture references, and honestly at this point I feel like I'm not going to escape it in young adult. It's just a thing that's going to happen apparently in contemporary, and I'm just going to have to learn to accept it, but I'm not going to have to love it. There's a really good mother-daughter relationship that is in the book, which I also really like. So I am really enjoying this, but it's not like as great as I thought it was going to be, but I am hoping as we move forward it continues to just kind of go up for me. But I think right now it's sitting at like a 4-ish stars, so it's not bad by any means. It's just not my favorite, but like I said, I'm liking it. It's good. I can't wait to continue, and yeah, I'll update you guys when I finish. I'm hoping to finish tomorrow. That would be ideal because I have to read other books. So yeah, that's that, and I will see you guys later. Bye. So it is very possible that I'm going to be starting Lovely War by Julie Berry this evening. Depending on how busy it is at work, I might be starting it either like at work or when I get home. I just have to finish the book previous of that, which is Here We Are Now. I just wanted to update you guys before I went into work, just saying that chances are I will be reading, or I will be starting Lovely War tonight. I'm really excited about it. I have heard so many good things about it and I cannot wait to read it and just formulate my own opinions on it. So I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, I am just gonna go into work now and it's gonna be fun. All right, bye. So I'm 50% of the way through Lovely War by Julie Berry. I'm really enjoying this book so far. I think this is a contender for me for my second favorite book of all time, which is so weird because I just finished my first favorite book of all time. I don't think it's going to beat The Nightingale. Like, I'm pretty sure it's not going to, but it's really close. Like, it's so close. Everything about the story is working for me so far. Like, the idea of the gods telling these stories of love, war, and music is just so interesting. It's something I've never heard of before, and I definitely had mixed feelings about it going in because I was concerned that it was going to take away from my enjoyment of the story, but it really didn't. It really enhances the story, having it from this third person's perspective, and it's really interesting, especially because they do add some like little commentary in there, like they didn't kiss even though I wanted them to, like stuff like that. Like it's so well done, and it's so realistic and transparent. Like it is brutal, but it is like in the best way possible. Like you can tell that she researched because there is a bibliography in the back of this book, and you know a book is good when the author includes a bibliography, especially when it's just a work of fiction. Like that's how you know that somebody put in the time and the effort needed to write this book. So needless to say, Author Alphabet is a success for, what did I read? Right, I read The Testing, I read Here We Are Now, and I'm reading Lovely War. All really fantastic books. So this is probably the most successful Author Alphabet I've had so far. I haven't had anything lower than a 4, so I'm really impressed. I would be shocked if this challenged that in any way because I am honestly just loving it so much. I feel like books that I love, like with my entire being and my entire soul, take me longer to read, partly because I don't want it to end, and partly because it's just like there's so much to unpack and there are so many emotions to feel at once. It's hard to read it all at one time, but honestly, so good. If you haven't picked this up, I highly recommend it. I will be posting a link to the book triggerwarnings.com, which is where I'm going to put some trigger warnings that you should definitely keep an eye out for this book, because it is brutal, it is drastic, and it is incredibly realistic to a time of war. So keep that in mind when going into this, but it's so good, and I'm having such just my mind is blown. I'm feeling every feeling possible, and I'm loving this so much. So I cannot wait to finish this book and share my final thoughts, but I'd be shocked if this was anything less than a 5-star or a 4.5 at least star ratings. So good. Okay, bye. Hello, Editing Sasha here. I forgot to put my update for how I feel about Lovely War by Julie Berry at the end of finishing reading the book. I don't know how I forgot to do that. I literally was like thinking about all the things I needed to do for this vlog, and I could have sworn I did it, but I didn't, or I did and it's lost and it's nowhere to be found or whatever. So I'm so sorry. You will find out in the next clip how I felt, I guess, about Lovely War by Julie Berry, but oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. This vlog is a hot mess. Okay, goodbye. Hello, it's me again. I'm here to talk about my conclusion thoughts on these books. So what I like to do in my wrap-up conclusions for vlogs, I like to go from my least favorite to my favorite. And I will say though that this was a very successful reading vlog, probably the most successful I've had to date, if I'm being honest. None of the books went under a 4-star. I had so much fun reading all of these. So we'll start off with my least favorite, and my least favorite was The Testing by Joelle Charbonneau. And this wasn't like it was a bad book. It was definitely a product of its time. It was definitely like a young adult, like 2013, like dystopian novel. But at the end of the day, it was actually pretty good. I thought the concept, although so similar to Divergent, really did have its own unique characteristics, and I really did have a good time reading it, and I would recommend it to most people. However, the second and third books do kind of go down a little bit in terms of quality, in my opinion. I wasn't having as much fun, so I think I did rate those two like 3.5 stars. However, I was only originally going to count the first book toward the Author Alphabet anyways, so I think this is fine. I think it's great, but I genuinely really did have a good time reading this. It kind of brought me back to what I like to read in high school, which is always kind of fun to get to. But I will definitely say that this was probably the least enjoyable out of all of them, but like I said, like a 4-star is incredible. So next, in terms of my enjoyment and my feelings, I would pick Here We Are Now by Jasmine Warga. 4.5 stars I gave this one, and I did really like this, although it did read very young. So something about this story was, at the beginning, the first half was very childish, very naive, and I do understand that it is a young adult, but sometimes I feel like maybe I was just like mature at 17, but I never talked like some of these teenagers talk, and I'm just like, you sound like you're in middle school. Like, I don't understand your thought processes, and whatever, that's fine. However, what this did do for the young adult contemporary genre is take familial conflicts and familial drama to a different level, something where I feel like a lot of people can relate to, especially people who have estranged relationships with their families. And I also really like how our main character's mother has a story, because she did emigrate from, oh my god, where did she emigrate from? I don't remember where she emigrated from, but we also got her story and how she ended up meeting Julian, who is Halia's father, our main character. So I really liked that aspect of it. The first half dragged a little for me. I didn't think I was gonna like it that much, but the second half really made up for it, and I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. And finally, the best book of this vlog, by far, Lovely War by Julie Berry. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. It was phenomenal. The writing, top tier. The idea, top tier. The execution, top tier. The characters, top tier. I love these people so much. I love this story so much. There was such a huge part of me that just didn't want it to end, because I was having such a riveting experience in this book. I wouldn't say it's like a good experience, because so much happens and there's so much grief and so much sadness, and it takes a lot to get through at times, but holy fuck. This is so freaking good. It was such a good book. Oh my gosh, I loved it so much. I don't think it matches up to The Nightingale. Like, I still think The Nightingale is my favorite book of all time. However, I do feel like this is a close like second, or like maybe like top 3. I don't know, but I love this. Like, I love this so freaking much. Like, it's such a good book. It's such a good book. I loved it so much, and I genuinely am so glad I picked it up for this one. That is everything. If you haven't read any of these books yet, I highly recommend picking some of them up. Of course, for trigger warnings, I always put the booktriggerwarnings.com website in my description, and whenever I'm finished a book, I go on and either create a page for the book that I read or add on to a page that was already created, so that we can have readers have the best experience possible in terms of understanding what their limits are and being able to read stories that they can read, because it really takes away from a story when you don't go into it knowing fully the types of things that could trigger you. So I highly recommend, for any of these books, just looking into those trigger warnings. I think it'll really benefit you in the end, and it'll help you figure out a way if you want to have these books as books you want to read. So that is all. Thank you so much for tuning into this vlog. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. I am posting twice a week. No, I'm not anymore, and my life is just infinitely better. I'm posting once a week, and I really do have some fun videos coming up that I don't think you're gonna want to miss out on. And until next time, bye readers!